Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And we're still working our way through Janáček. Oh, yes, fabulous, fabulous Janáček with everything I could get my hands on before he became a household word and people started making dozens of recordings of everything he did. But back in the day, he was harder to get your hands on, and beggars couldn't be choosers, so I wasn't picky, and I've kept all this stuff just for the sheer perverse love of it. So what can I tell you? So let's see what we got. Oh, there's this thing, the Sinfonietta, Lachian Dances, and Taras Bulba, with the Slovak Radio Symphony Orchestra under Ondrej Lenard. Well, it's not great. The orchestra's kind of creaky. It's on Naxos. It was done in, 1988 to 1990. There are some, iffy moments in the playing, but I don't know. It was from the day when Janáček sounded raw and edgy and difficult. I just hung on to it for that reason. I put it on now and I sort of go, yeah. But what can I say? I just liked it. Back then, what is this? Oh, this is wonderful. Janáček choruses for male voices. Janáček was an amazing composer for male voice chorus. He wrote for the Moravian Teachers Choir. That's who's performing this, under Lubomir Mati. And these are fascinating works. I mean, some of them are folk-type pieces, full of Czech things, but others are these really major, major things that are fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. There's one called 70,000, which is on here. It's 6 minutes long. A couple of these are 8 minutes. They're big works, and they're for a cappella male choir. And the amount of textural variety that Janáček gets out of the music and is typical forthright because he's dealing with speech rhythms, and somehow the music just bypasses your faculty of reason and goes straight to the emotional heart of your being. And these are wonderful pieces to hear. And it's a beautiful performance, an absolutely wonderful production. And I believe you get, if I'm not mistaken, yes, you get texts and translations in Czech and English, which is really important. Listening to this stuff, they're fabulous works, absolutely fabulous works. And so if you like choral pieces, you really owe it to yourself to give that a listen. It's wonderful. Then there's this thing on Superfun, Unknown Janáček. I remember when this came out. Oh, I was so happy to get this stuff. You get some harmonium pieces that were part of On an Overgrown Path that, is now played on piano, but some of the pieces were originally written for harmonium. So they're played in some other harmonium things. And there's something called War Song and Blessing the Flag and War Song 2 and Entrada, two entradas from 1875. There's organ music, there's choral music, there's the piano four-hand version of the Jealousy Overture with Rudolf Firkushny and Igor Ardashev, piano. You've got, let's see, what else have we got here? Oh, goodness. Oh, the cut aria for Kostelnička from Yennefer, that tells the story of her miserable marriage and why she's such a bitch and the rest of the opera. We've got, let's see, Taras Bulba, the original beginning of the first movement, which is 7 minutes and 43 seconds. It's got to be the whole first movement. The postlude to the first part of the Excursions of Mr. Bruchek. The Living Corpse, fragment of the first act of the opera after Tolstoy. The March of the Blue Boys, which later was incorporated into the Wind Sextet Melody. And another little piano piece, Waiting for You, for piano, played by Rudolf Firkushny, who was, of course, one of Janáček's students. So I don't know if this even exists anymore, but for hardcore Janáček collectors, it was really cool to get. And I have it. I can make them jealous, keeping it and waving it around. And what have we got here? The Pacifica Quartet, Declarations, Music Between the Wars, quartets by Hindemith Janáček and Ruth Crawford Seeger on CD. You've got the Ruth Crawford Seeger String Quartet, which is 11 really gnarly minutes. but very good. The Janáček Second Quartet, Intimate Letters, and Hindemith String Quartet number 4. An interesting collection. Very, very well played. Everything the Pacifica does is really pretty extraordinary. That's no exception. And Janáček and Smetana piano trios with the trio Abegg, A-B-E-G-G, on Touch It. Really fabulous, small, independent German label. The Smetana trio in G minor is a wonderful work. It doesn't get played very often. And the Janáček piano trio Kreutzer Sonata, which is sort of the piano trio version. It's a reconstructed piano trio version of what later became the string quartet Kreutzer Sonata. Right? Do I have that right? Yes, reconstruction of the original trio version. So that's what it is, on the basis of string quartet of 1923. Does it make any sense? I don't know. I just don't care. As much Janáček as I can get, I'm happy. So I listen to it that way sometimes. It's fun. The Janáček string quartets with the Smetana quartet on Denon. These are marvelous performances. The Smetana quartet had played from their own editions of these works. Their interpretive choices, as I pointed out not too long ago, are a little bit different from what everyone else did, especially the finale of the second quartet, which they take at like an insane tempo. But the playing is exceptional, and the interpretations are as thrillingly passionate as you would want, and they're wonderfully recorded here by Denon. This is the Denon Best Masters series, as opposed to the Yucky Masters series, I guess. And then, oh yes, the Kubelik Janáček Sinfonietta with Bavarian radio, still one of my faves. I mean, they just catch the sound of the massed trumpets so beautifully. Some people complain. They say, the trumpets, their intonation isn't so good. Peh, I don't care. Sounds great to me. Fabulous, full, brilliant, and just full of panache. And if the panache is a little out of tune now and then, it's okay. Janáček sort of works that way. It doesn't matter. But the couplings were marvelous because you had the other Smetana tone poems, Richard III, Wallenstein's Lager, and Håkon Jarl, and also the Prague Carnival, which he wrote after his institutionalization, and which sounds like the work of a madman. It really does. Really, really fantastic disc. Usually the Sinfonietta was coupled with Taras Bulba, but in this particular Supra, it was a Deutsche Grammophon Galleria mid-price reissue. They did it otherwise, so I kept it for that reason. I really should have filed it under Smetana because I've got a million Kubelik Janáček Sinfoniettas drifting around, but hey. Then we've got this EMI twofer. What is this stuff? It's like all of his chamber music and some other stuff with Macaris. Yeah, what do we got here? We've got the Fairy Tale, Pohádka for cello and piano, the Presto in E minor, the Violin Sonata, which is fantastic, the Capriccio and the Concertino. Those are with the Paris Opera Orchestra, conducted by Charles Macaris, and Michael Rudi is the pianist. Very, very good in this music, by the way. And he also does the piano music in The Mist, which is glorious, the Sonata, and On an Overgrown Path, both parts, or 3 parts of it actually, and the 3 Moravian dances. So we've got Michael Rudi, Gary Hoffman is the cellist, Pierre Amoyal violin, and Macaris and the Paris Opera Orchestra. It's nothing to sneeze at. Let me tell you, this is a nice twofer. Awfully glad I hung on to that one. Oh, sorry. Then we have this thing. Oh, this is choral works and tone poems. Very unusual and interesting stuff. The label is Hyperion. You get his cantata, The Eternal Gospel, which is legend for soprano, tenor, chorus, and orchestra. The tone poems, The Ballad of Blanek and The Fiddler's Child, which are very odd and quirky pieces. Well, it's Janáček. What do you expect? And then the suite from The Excursions of Mr. Bruchek. This is very, very well done. It's Ilan Volkov and the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra with a variety of soloists. A beautiful disc of unusual and interesting repertoire. Worth having for you Janáček completists. Beautiful stuff. The Ballad of Blanek is marvelous. Anyway, then last but not least, the Janáček Sonata, played by Ivan Moravec. This is his Prague recital. We've got Haydn Piano Sonata in D major, Number 37, the Janáček Sonata, some Chopin stuff from some of the 24 preludes, and then a bunch of encores, Debussy's Ondine and the two Chopin mazurkas. It's on Hensler Classic, and it's Moravitz, and he's just wonderful. I heard him do the Janáček Sonata live. It was glorious. It's just wonderful stuff. And he was amazing, as we know, and I keep this under Janáček because, I could put it under M for Moravitz because I do have a little Moravitz section over there, but it's okay. I'm keeping it there. So there you have it, my friends. Another big pile of Janáček, and some very interesting Janáček at that. Keep on listening and take care.